Welcome to my countdown of my favorite songs from April 2020. I'm DJ Mikey, and as always, I want to share with you some of the great new tracks that have come out this month. But before we begin, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the little notification bell next to it so that you will get notified whenever we post a new show or breaking music news. Subscribers make us very, very happy indeed. And now, starting off the countdown, we have the Psychedelic Furs, and this is the third single off their 8th studio album, Made of Rain, due out in July. And if I'm being honest, I was pretty disappointed in the first two singles, but this one works for me, though. It has some edge to it and a chorus that I actually want to sing along to. So here's hoping that this is more representative of the rest of the album. Coming in at number 20, we have the Psychedelic Furs and the single No One. Coming in at number 19, we have new music from the Hungarian electro duo Black Nail Cabaret off their album God's Verging on Sanity, which is due out in May. And this band combines music and art with poetry, costumes, and often BDSM eroticism. I've been enjoying them for a while, but this track takes it to a whole new level for me. It has a bit of Depeche Mode, Fly on the Windscreen vibe to it. It's called My Casual God from Black Nail Cabaret.
Don't let me perish. Don't let me down. I just want to feel wanted.
And number 18, we have another brand new single from Clan of Xymox, and much like the last one, I think I prefer the remixes over the regular version. There's two remixes of this track that I like quite a bit. The Cellophane mix and this one by Actors, which adds a dark retro element to the song. So hats off to Xymox for consistently providing multiple quality versions of each of their singles. This is Clan of Xymox and the track Lovers, the Actors remix.
We're seen as lovers.
Cleveland's Choir Boy put out two great new songs in the last few weeks, Toxic Eye and Sweet Candy. And I actually want to include both, but I decided on Toxic Eye for this month. Perhaps Sweet Candy will make an appearance in next month's countdown. This band's been creating quite a bit of buzz lately. Watching their videos and listening to their vocals leave my mind wandering somewhere between Drab Majesty and Spandau Ballet. So if you want to hear what that mental mashup sounds like, here you go. This is Toxic Eye from Choir Boy, coming in at number 17. I'm sure I'm going to butcher the pronunciation of this band. Nejbo, N-E-J-B-O. Nejbo's a Swedish artist that's strongly influenced by New Order and Pet Shop Boys, which is very evident in this song, which coincidentally sounds like it could be a song from Electronic. Other than that, I really don't know much more about this artist. There certainly isn't too much material floating around just yet, but based on this song, this is one band that I'll be watching out for. The track is called And I Loved You by Nejbo, coming in at number 16.
Streets of this
At number 15, we have the DMAs, and this Australian band started out reminding me of Stereophonics when I first heard them a few years ago. But with their last few singles, they have more of a Manchester rave scene meets Oasis sort of sound. And this album was due out in April, but it's now delayed until July, like so many other albums are delayed, unfortunately. Between the first single, Life is a Game of Changing, and this track, The Glow, that's a pretty good start for the new album. So let's have a listen to The Glow coming in at number 15 on the countdown.
I'm sick and tired of chasing the glow. There's nothing moving faster than the only thing you know. It's the only thing you know. This is the end of all.
Coming in at number 14, we have Wolfclub, and they're one of my favorite new bands putting out drive soundtrack influenced music, which is one of my favorite genres. And with this band, it's not just the music, but if you look at all their album and single covers, you'll see the influence in the album art as well. The band has a new album called Runaways, which is due out May 1st, and this is the second single from that forthcoming album. It's called Rebels at number 14. This is the Wolfclub. Trevor Something is an alias for an anonymous electronic musician. He creates his own music and mixes under his anonymous moniker. And we first heard of him around 2015 with his John Hughes sounding slow groove Do You Remember? And since then, he's gotten seemingly darker with each release. His new album is called Microwaves, and it was just released, and it's got a few really good songs on it. False Reality is a fantastic one, as is this track, You Are My Obsession. And this kind of has an upbeat darkness to it, if that's a thing. Have a listen to a sample of You Are My Obsession from Trevor Something at number 13.
Nobody else way to do it. Life is just a lesson. Life is just a lesson. Time is a perception. Time is a perception. Love work your depression. Love work your depression. This is my confession. You are my obsession.
The band Gorillaz is a project from Blur singer Damon Albarn, and they have launched a series of singles and music videos that will be released throughout 2020, and there will be 13 episodes, and they'll be put out randomly throughout the year. The latest episode, number 3, was released this month, and it made quite a statement because they had Peter Hook joining them on bass for this track, and hearing it will immediately remind you of Hook's Revenge project. So if you're keeping score, we reminded you of both Revenge and Monaco in this countdown, as well as electronic. So that's okay with me. Have a listen to the track Aries by Gorillaz featuring Peter Hook at number 12.
I'm looking out at a volcano, trying to read the world today.
At number 11, we have a band called No Suits in Miami, and this is a song that fell on my lap just as I was preparing to record this, and I immediately had to find the spot for it. So sorry to the unnamed band that I had to bump to make room for this one. This song starts off musically having you thinking you're listening to new music from Peter Hook's Monaco. Then as the vocals kick in, the song takes on some more twee elements, somewhat similar to Pains of Being Pure at Heart. And as with a few of the other bands in this countdown, I don't know that much about these guys yet. They only have a few songs on Bandcamp so far. And like many of the bands in this show, they are, of course, from Sweden, where all good music seems to come from. Have a listen to this great new track from No Suits in Miami. It's called What We Have at number 11. Vision Video is a new goth pop band from Georgia that has obvious influences from The Cure and Joy Division, blended with a little bit of the Replacements. The bass player was formerly from the band I Am the World Trade Center, which had the song Metro that we used to love to play on the station, which, wow, sounds nothing like this at all. That was electro bubblegum pop, so he went in a very different direction with this one. The band's Bandcamp page calls their sound dance music for the end of times, which seems very appropriate. I think. Have a listen. This is called In My Side from Vision Video at number 10. I've never listened to much from the Strokes in the past, if I'm being honest, but perhaps I need to change that because the song The Adults Are Taking had me bouncing right out of my quarantine snuggie. This is off of their recently released album, The New Abnormal, and early in the band's career, the band was grouped with artists like the White Stripes and Arctic Monkeys. So I went to Google some information on this one, and fun story for probably no one really other than me, but I was reading a review on Spotify and liking some of the history I was reading, only to find in the end that the review was written by my friend Heather Fairs. So I kind of love when I'm reading a national review only to find out that it's the words of a local in our scene. So a nice write-up, Heather. She described this album as a more thoughtful and confessional level to the Strokes sound and songwriting. Let's see if you agree. The track is The Adults Are Talking by the Strokes, coming in at number 9.
Don't go there, 'cause you never return. I know you think of me when you think of her, but then it don't make sense.
For almost 6 years, Chromatics have been teasing us with a follow-up to Kill for Love called Dear Tommy, and in that time the band went from periods of silence to the occasional single that was not related to Dear Tommy. Last year, the band put out an album out of the blue, and it was also not Dear Tommy. It was Closer to Grey, which was a pretty cool album, but no Dear Tommy. Well, earlier this month, the band's singer Ruth Radelet posted a picture of her in a sweater that had the text, "The fuck is Dear Tommy?" with a question mark. So that was a little bit of a clue, perhaps. And a few days later, the band posted a video for a new song called Teacher. And on YouTube for the video, it listed what appears to be a 16-song track list for Dear Tommy. So let's keep our fingers crossed. And if this song is any indication, fans will be very pleased. This is Teacher from Chromatics, coming in at number 8.
Teacher, you don't have to tell me twice. I believe you when I stare into those eyes. Teacher.
In 2014, Strangeways Radio was introduced to the London band Empathy Test and their song Losing Touch, which became an instant favorite of mine and most of our listeners. The song had a great drive sound to it and was fun to pair with music like Chromatics, which we just heard. And since then, more and more people have been asking us about that song, and it's even often requested when I DJ various club events, which is kind of funny because it's not a traditional dance song at all, but it works, and when it's requested, we play it like the good little DJs that we are. The band followed that up with an album called Safe from Harm in 2017, and now they're on the verge of releasing their next record, Monster. The title track for that was released this week, and it packs a nice punch, and it's going to have you singing Baby I Got the Monsters repeatedly. This is going to be an album you're going to want to buy when it comes out for sure. Let's hear Monster at number 7 from Empathy Test.
It's time to go. Baby, I've got the monsters. Baby, I've got the monsters. Baby, I've got the monsters.
You would think that Chromatics would be the highest charting song for me, coming from the Italians Do It Better label on this countdown, but nope. because one of Johnny Jewel's other creations, Desire, released the first single and title track from the band's upcoming album, Escape. And this follows their recent cover of Bizarre Love Triangle that I kind of liked. I think I played that a few months ago. This track is infectious as hell, and it's going to have you singing the La La Las along with singer Megan Louise for this track. And the thing about bands like Chromatics and Desire is the songs are very consistent from album to album. If you like one, you're probably going to like them all. They don't really change much. And while some may not like that, I'm perfectly cool with it. It's kind of like when my wife keeps making me different variations of chocolate chip cookies. Each batch is somewhat similar, but offers a slightly different flavor, and I likely won't ever tire of it. So that's my cookie metaphor for the month, folks. Let's have a listen to Escape from Desire, coming in at number 6.
Tell me what you're dreaming, tell me what you're dreaming, tell me what you're dreaming of. When you're lying next to me, I can barely breathe, and as far as I can.
This is our third monthly countdown and the third appearance from post-punk band Spectres, and newsflash for you, they might appear next month too. The band's album Nostalgia is just really good, which is what you would expect from something produced at Jackknife Sound with Jason from Actors. I've really run out of things to say about this album, this band. It sounds a little bit what I would like Echo and the Bunnymen to sound like these days. This track is The Call. It might be my favorite from the album. It's from Spectres, coming in at number 5.
Like the strike of last calls as before. Going again. Fortunate in the desperate.
Well, this next song is an abrupt slap in the ass for you. It starts off with the words fake, somewhat like Depeche Mode's Wrong, and then goes into a rant about all the fake people out there, which honestly, I don't disagree with at all. The Depeche Mode influence doesn't stop with the intro, though. As you listen, you're going to hear a similarity to Mode's It's No Good, which is, it's just a good song. It does remind you of Depeche Mode a little bit. So the next time you're pissed off at anyone or anything, give this tune a listen. It's People Are Fake from Blackbook at number 4.
People are cruel, exceptions are rule. Don't look behind you, they're following you. Don't tell me you're different, don't tell me you're innocent. You'll never, never, ever deceive me. Don't.
So here comes the thematic worst segue ever, going from People Are Fake to this song from the band Kite. The track is called Hopelessly Unholy, and I heard it on a recent episode of the Big Sonic Heaven radio show. And for those not familiar with Big Sonic Heaven, it's really the reason I'm a DJ today. It was a Detroit-based show of ethereal dream pop, post-punk, and other similar genres, shoegaze. And it was more than just music, though. It was a vibe, and it helped inspire a movement that had people dancing to bands like the Cocteau Twins, which you wouldn't think would be a thing, but it became a thing. So when the show went off the airwaves in Detroit, I started doing a few shows myself with the same theme in mind, not with the intent to copy it at all, but to keep the movement going because I wasn't really ready to let it go. Well, now Big Sonic Heaven has made a return, and they have a 24/7 internet radio station, which a lot of people are really excited about. And it's the kind of show that you listen to and you hear something for the first time, and then you pay attention for Darren to announce what it was that you just heard, and you're going to write it down and then immediately seek out the sound and the song. And that's what happened to me when I heard this. I was drawn in immediately, actually thinking it was a new song from Suede because, wow, the similarities are really striking to me. This sounds an awful lot like Suede. It's like Suede. And so ending that long story, this is Kite with Hopelessly Unholy, the orchestral version, at number 3.
I'd rather keep a friend than to hurt someone again. And all these words you can rely on, what I can give you can count on. I wish I could hold you back, but unfortunately I
If I were to list my favorite modern rock bands, obviously you all know that White Lies would be in that list for me, but not far behind would be this band, Graveyard Club. These guys are the ultimate hybrid in that they have some synth elements, some shoegaze elements, some modern rock elements, really a little bit of everything, and it's just a great sound. So I was thrilled when this song Valens got released earlier this month. And this has the sound of a more pop version of Echo and the Bunnymen. It's just so good. So listen to the song, or a sample of it at least, and then after the show, do yourself a favor and dive into this band's catalog. There's a lot of material there for you to consume. The band is Graveyard Club. This track is Valens, and it's number 2. At number 1 in our countdown is a bit of a surprise. Idle Youth is a newcomer to the scene, and they're from London, and they only have a few songs in their catalog at this point, but this track just does it for me. It's one of my favorite types of synth songs with smooth 80s style synths, and a song that would fit right on the Pretty in Pink soundtrack rather nicely. So in a month where we feature songs from Peter Hook, Damon Albarn, the Chromatics, Xymox, and the Psychedelic Furs, it's the brand new guy that earns their place at the top of my list. This is Idle Youth with the track Pompeii at number 1. And that's it, folks. Thank you so much for listening. We hope that you found some new music to listen to as a result of this show. And I will now begin my quest of collecting music for the month of May. So if you hear anything you like throughout the month, be sure to send it my way. Maybe it'll end up in the countdown. I certainly love receiving recommendations and finding new music. So until next month, stay safe, wash your hands, and please, no ingesting of detergent, folks. Good night, everybody.